The Frog Prince. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a beautiful young princess. She was the apple of her father's eye and lived a life full of joy and luxury. One day, she was playing in the royal gardens with her favorite golden ball, tossing it high into the air and catching it. She loved the golden ball more than any other toy she had. But as she threw it up high once again, it slipped from her fingers and fell into a deep well nearby. The princess ran to the well and looked down, but the golden ball had sunk too deep, and she couldn't see it anymore. Heartbroken, she sat beside the well and started to cry. Her sobs echoed through the garden, and it wasn't long before she heard a voice say, "What's wrong, princess? Why are you crying so bitterly?" The princess looked around but saw no one. Then, she noticed a frog sitting on the edge of the well, looking up at her with kind, gentle eyes. "Oh, it's you, little frog," she sighed. "I've lost my favorite golden ball in the well, and I can't get it back." The frog replied, "I can help you retrieve your golden ball, but what will you give me in return?" The princess, desperate to get her beloved toy back, hastily promised, "Anything you want, dear frog. Jewels, pearls, my finest dresses, even my golden crown." The frog shook his head and said, "I don't want any of those things. But if you promise to be my friend, let me live with you, eat from your plate, and sleep on your pillow, then I'll dive into the well and bring back your golden ball." The princess, thinking the frog's request was just a joke, agreed immediately. Yes, I promise you all of that if you can just bring me back my golden ball." Satisfied, the frog jumped into the well. A few moments later, he emerged with the golden ball in his mouth and placed it on the ground. Overjoyed, the princess snatched up her golden ball and ran back to the palace without giving the frog another thought. That evening, as the princess sat down for dinner with her father, there was a knock on the door. To her surprise, when the door was opened, the little frog was sitting there. The frog called out, "Princess, dear princess, open the door for me. Do you not remember your promise to me by the well?" The princess was shocked and upset. She had never thought the frog would take her seriously. Seeing her distress, the king asked, "My dear, what is troubling you?" The princess explained the whole story, and her father, the king, sternly reminded her, "You must always keep your promises, even if you don't like them. Go and let the frog in." Reluctantly, the princess opened the door. The frog hopped in and followed her to the dining table. He looked up at her with his big eyes and said, "Lift me up onto the table, so I can eat from your plate." The princess felt disgusted but, remembering her father's words, she lifted the frog onto the table. He ate from her plate and drank from her cup, all the while staring at her lovingly. After dinner, he said, "I am tired now, carry me to your bedroom, so I can sleep on your pillow." The princess was horrified at this request, but she had no choice. She picked up the frog and carried him to her room. She placed him in a corner, thinking he would be content there, but the frog said, "I want to sleep on your pillow, not in the corner." With no other option, the princess placed the frog on her silk pillow. She lay down on the far edge, as far from the frog as possible. As the night wore on, she felt more and more uncomfortable with the frog's presence. Finally, unable to bear it any longer, she picked up the frog and threw him against the wall. "Now you can be quiet, horrible frog," she cried. To her astonishment, when the frog hit the wall, he turned into a handsome young prince. The prince explained, "I was enchanted by a wicked witch and turned into a frog. Only the kindness and companionship of a true friend could break the spell." The princess was filled with remorse and apologized to the prince. The prince, who had already forgiven her, took her hand and said, "You have freed me from the spell, and now I can return to my kingdom." The next day, the prince and the princess traveled to his kingdom, where they were welcomed with open arms. They soon fell in love and were married in a grand ceremony, with the entire kingdom celebrating their union. The princess learned a valuable lesson about keeping promises and judging others by their appearance. The prince and princess lived happily ever after, ruling their kingdoms with wisdom and kindness. Origin of the story. The story of the Frog Prince is believed to have originated from German folklore and was first published by the brothers Grimm in their 1812 collection Grimm's Fairy Tales under the title, Der Froschkönig oder der Eisenheinrich, the Frog King, or Iron Heinrich. The story has been told in various forms throughout Europe, with different versions appearing in oral and written traditions. The tale is a classic example of the theme of transformation and the importance of keeping one's promises, making it a beloved story that has been passed down through generations.